President Trump's patience with China may have finally run out, with the U.S. reportedly preparing new sanctions on Chinese firms with business ties to North Korea. The administration had long hinted at the adoption of so-called secondary sanctions aimed at China if it fails to rein in the Kim Jong-un regime. Our Joonhee with more.
Two senior U.S. officials told Reuters on Thursday that Washington was ready to adopt measures targeting Chinese banks and shell companies suspected of bankrolling Pyongyang's weapons programs. The officials said sanctions could be implemented within weeks, but would depend heavily on how Beijing responds to the request to apply more pressure on the regime. Both the White House and the Chinese embassy in Washington declined to comment on the report. The word of new sanctions comes amid gridlock in the UN Security Council, with U.S. Ambassador Nikki Haley facing resistance from Beijing and Moscow to put forward a new resolution on North Korea. During last week's emergency meeting, Haley threatened a secondary boycott if Security Council members could not agree on new sanctions to punish North Korea for its recent ICBM launch. Washington has already frozen the assets of two Chinese nationals and a shipping company for their ties to the regime, while accusing a regional Chinese bank of laundering money for Pyongyang. Additional targets that could come into Washington's crosshairs may come from a list of more than 10 firms that President Trump shared with Chinese President Xi during their April summit in Florida. President Trump was in Paris on Thursday, where he held a summit with French President Emmanuel Macron. When asked about his assessment of President Xi, Trump told reporters he had a good working relationship with him, but added he was disappointed China hasn't done more to pressure North Korea. Senators in Washington are also calling for a bipartisan bill aimed at introducing more sanctions on North Korea and other entities that provide financial aid to the regime. Joonhee, Arirang News.